Tonight, the Ghana Gold Board is vowing massive crackdown on gold smuggling as the new entity prepares to come on stream. The precious minerals marketing company will soon officially transform to become the Gold Board following President John Maham's assent of the Gold Board bill into law earlier today.
Well, the bill passed last week by Parliament is, among others, to establish a regulatory body tasked to oversee gold transactions and accumulate in forest exchange to stabilize the city. Speaking on PM Express, Acting Managing Director of PMMC, Sami Jamfi, who will become the CEO of the Gold Board when it is officially established, explained to Evans Mensah that the board will revoke all licenses of foreigners involved in gold export as a key strategy to deal with gold smuggling.
There are maybe, I would say, 3 or 4 solutions to smuggling. Setting up the Gold Board is one, because once we have set up the Gold Board, the main smugglers, they know themselves. They are Ghanaians, but majority of them are foreigners. Now, no foreigner will be given a license to go and buy gold. So hitherto, foreigners have a license from PMMC and the ministry. They are buying the gold to smuggle, but when you cut them, they say, hey, we have a license. Now, no Indian, no Chinese, no foreigner will be given a license by the Gold Board. We are sanitizing.
So all existing licenses will be revoked.
If you're a foreigner and you want gold, you apply to the Gold Board. The Gold Board has an arrangement with you. You bring money. We give the money to Ghanaian citizens who are licensed. They buy the gold for the Gold Board. We'll ship the gold to you. It's as simple as that.
Now, Sami Jamfi also explained that the Ghana Gold Board will have inspectors who will have the power to confiscate gold from persons suspected to be engaged in gold smuggling. They will also have police powers to go to court and seek warrants, among others.
Not enforcing the law on gold smuggling. And we don't know the agency that is dedicated to the fight against gold smuggling. We are not. We've left it to the normal security agencies. We are not. But now you're going to see in this bill special powers given the Gold Board.
Such as?
Such as the right to appoint inspectors, Gold Board inspectors, who have the same powers as police officers, who have powers to come to your office if they are under reasonable suspicion that you are dealing in gold illegally. They can search, they can ask for documents, and if they have cause to believe that you are engaged in illegal gold trading or smuggling, they can seize your gold, they can impound, they can confiscate, okay? They can go to court for search warrants. They
by
can
themselves?
Go for injunction. By themselves.
So the Attorney General is ceding part of his powers
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
that special inspector.
Exactly. Then with the Gold Board can maintain a task force in collaboration with other security agencies. And we are going to do that with national security.
Well, Chairman of the Ghana Extractive Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiel, joins us live right now. In a recent Facebook post, I recall that you explained why CSOs seem okay with the Gold Board idea. But really, is this the game changer we've been looking for? You might have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Good evening to you and your viewers.
Good evening.
I guess so. I guess this is going to be a game changer. If you consider the fact that even though small-scale gold production in Ghana constitutes about 40% of our total national gold production, and yet contributes less than 1% to the sector's revenue, then of course we think it's clear that there's a need to do something about the situation and make the small-scale gold production also count for something for us. If you were to consider, again, the fact that we've licensed every Tom, Dick, and Harry to be involved in gold buying and gold exports in such a way that we are unable to fully account for our export revenue. You recall the former Vice President, Dr. Baumia, visited the UAE some time ago. And while the UAE authorities indicated that they had imported about 7 billion worth of gold from Ghana, our own Bank of Ghana records indicated that we had only shipped 2 billion. This leaves about $5 billion worth of gold unaccounted for. And it is because we have actually been very laissez-faire in the way we actually regulate gold buying and gold exports in this country. And so I think this is a first major step to try to ensure that Ghana gets the full benefits of its gold exports, especially from the small-scale sector.
But then many argue that the presence of a regulator in the buying of gold space would also give room for smuggling. Do you agree?
No, I do not agree. Let me put it on record that sometime back in 2023, the World Bank sponsored some of us from the mining sector, CSOs, the Ghana EITI, the Minerals Commission, to pay a steady visit to Tanzania to study the Tanzanian gold market model. I know another country, Guyana, also has a gold board. So we are looking at all these models and drawing lessons. Of course, in Tanzania, the way they've been able to avert the incidence of gold smuggling is to ensure a fair pricing mechanism. So on any particular day, the central bank will announce the gold price for that day, and then competition among the various gold traders will be around the announced gold price. Some will give you a little premium or a little bit discount, and then if you are happy with it, you sell your gold. And so there are all these things that we need to actually take into account. And I think gold pricing, the formula, which ensures fair returns to the miners, is what will actually do the trick in averting smuggling.
All right, do stay with us. Let me bring in Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. I'm grateful to you, sir. Now, what's your thought on this gold board and how it intends to now regulate gold buying in Ghana? Alasan, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're telling us, sir. Okay. Alasan, kindly unmute for us and tell us what you make of the decision that the gold board will now be the body to regulate gold buying in the country.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Can you hear me now?
Clearly.
Good. Yes, good evening and good evening to your good listeners. As an association, Gold Board, yes, we have met the Gold Board as an industry players and per the vision and ideas that they've brought to bear. We supported the move because in our industry, especially the small-scale mining industry, I think we produce a lot of gold, but the value for money is another angle. So if the country is coming together to see to it that we all channel our gold through the Gold Board for Ghana to benefit, why not? We are in support of it, and we're fully in support of what Gold Board is bringing on board.
Our understanding is that you've all agreed to form a committee that will regulate the pricing of gold, but the Gold Board will definitely buy it at a discounted price, 10, 12%. Is that it?
For now, it's too early to come with the pricing because it is a technical committee.
I just want to find out from you if small-scale miners have agreed for the Gold Board to be buying your gold at a discounted price of around 10 to 12% of the world market price.
We've not come to that agreement yet because the pricing, we are yet to look at the pricing. So we are yet to meet Gold Board to take decision on the pricing, because if they are pre-financing our members, it has, no matter how it is, there should be a discount. And if the members are the people taking full responsibility on their operations and those things, it has a way of dealing it. Yes, we've agreed that there will be a discount, but we've not come to the actual percentage-wise. So there we are yet to meet because they've not formed the Gold Board yet. It is the technical committee who have just finished their work and it has been passed. So when the Gold Board is formed, the industry players, all of us will sit down and look at the pricing and the discount position, the discount that we need to do.
Yeah, grateful to you, sir.
Well, in less than 24 hours, all mobile money transactions will be free of all taxes. That's because President John Dramani Mahama today finally signed into law the new legislation that scraps the controversial e-levy. Here's the president at the Jubilee House signing the legislation to abolish the e-levy, the betting tax, and the emissions levy.
Okay, I've just given assent to the repeal of the famous e-levy bill. Now, this is the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025 to remove withholding tax on winnings from lottery, betting, and games of chance. This is the famous betting tax repeal bill. And so I'll assent to it, 2nd April 2025. So betting tax is gone. Now, this is the Emissions Tax Repeal Bill. So, Emissions Levy Repeal Act 2025, Emissions Levy is gone. So, the Earmark Funds Capping and Realignment Amendment Bill has been assented to. Promises delivered.
We now have confirmation that your pockets will begin to feel the impact in less than 24 hours. Dr. Ken Ashibe is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Electronic Issuers.
I was talking about it's been commendable that you have a government that made a promise whilst campaigning and have been able to move the promise from to a budget and then got a law. And now the law has been assented, and now we are just waiting for the gazetting. And then once that is done, implementation would happen. And so I am pretty sure that once we get the gazette, within 24 hours, the GRA together with the charging entities would be able to do the reset of their systems so that by, as soon as possible, all of us who are customers would all start benefiting from the repeal of the e-levy.
Now, speaking on the pulse on JoyNews, Public Relations Officer for the Mobile Money Agent Association, Charles Kwesi Addo, cautioned government to engage in broader policy consultations in the future to enhance policy implementation.
Since the introduction of the e-levy, people sought to do alternative. They sought for alternative, not to use the mobile money rather than to succumb to other means, probably, i.e. taking money to the lorry stations, the old ways of doing things. And therefore, when that happens, our transactional volumes reduce, i.e. Our commissions also coming down. I can say on authority that way back in 2022-2023, we conducted a research and table a document to the Ministry of Communication, Honorable Estela, if you could recall. We told her that the e-levy implementation is impacting our business, and therefore there's a need for us to at least review it. Because
the amended Public Financial Act has made sweeping changes, to Ghana's fiscal regime, including the introduction of a debt ceiling. Now, the bill caps the debt to GDP ratio at 45% by 2034. Ghana's debt to GDP hit over 90% in 2022 and has been cited as the main issue that led to Ghana's economic challenges accumulating in an IMF program.
Expect to hold successive governments to a strict ceiling of debts that can be accumulated. The bill also introduces severe sanctions for ministers of state who cause what the bill describes as fiscal slippages. My colleague Caleb Ziblim joins with details of this new law. Caleb, what are the key highlights of this law?
Yes, great. So now the Minister of Finance faces censure under Article 82 of the Constitution for any breach of the fiscal rules. And furthermore, the ministers of state and heads of the covered entities are now subject to potential imprisonment for actions contributing to any fiscal slippages. Also, we have the implementation of a primary balance rule mandating an annual surplus of at least 1.5% of GDP on a commitment basis. There's also an establishment of a public debt ceiling, capping the debt to GDP ratio at 45% by 2034 to ensure debt sustainability.
And we understand that when the ministers, cause slippages, there's
other
law.
amendments to the.
Yeah, Zibli, I'm listening. Okay, so the new Fiscal Management Act is proposing some punitive measures against ministers of state who cause what the law terms slippages. And this, if you look at the amendment to the Public Financial Management Act, there's one, the public debt ceiling, which caps debt to debt GDP ratio at 45% by 2034. Autonomous Fiscal Council tasked with monitoring adherence to fiscal responsibility rules. You remember that this was something that people had proposed and called for previously, but that hadn't happened. Now the law has instituted that as something that the government has to do. It says Minister of Finance must obtain parliamentary or cabinet approval before suspending the fiscal rule. So, and then also unification of all fiscal rules under a single legal framework. Caleb, so you were giving us a lot of the details of this particular act, and then the line dropped. Let's get the remaining.
Yeah, so there's also the creation of an independent fiscal council. This is supposed to be autonomous, and it's going to monitor the fiscal responsibility rules and make sure that the government is adhering to all the rules. Also, there's going to be requirements where the Minister of Finance, at any point, and if the minister needs to breach the fiscal rules because of any force majeure or unseen economic conditions, the minister will need to obtain parliamentary or cabinet approval before any fiscal rule can be suspended.
Okay. All right.
And finally, all the fiscal rules are now under a single legal framework, which has eliminated redundancies and enhanced enforcement mechanisms.
Okay. All right. Caleb, thank you for that one.
Well, to other stories now, the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency has given the Ghana Health Service a 3-month deadline to fix the dire conditions at Tafo Government Hospital in the Ashanti region. A JoyNews investigation exposed severe overcrowding and infrastructure challenges, leaving many patients without proper care. During a visit, HEFRA's registrar, Dr. Wilfred Barr, acknowledged the crisis and urged urgent action to ease congestion and improve healthcare delivery. Here are excerpts from that report.
The corridors of the Tafo Government Hospital in the Old Tafo municipality are narrow and crowded, with patients, relatives and medical staff jostling for space. As you step into the hospital, the sounds of desperation fill the air. Patients struggling for space, some on makeshift beds, others forced to sit or stand, waiting for attention from the overworked medical staff. The hospital's congestion is not a new phenomenon, but it has worsened in recent years. The patient's population has grown exponentially, while the hospital's infrastructure has remained stagnant. Medical Superintendent Dr. Eric Kwamedetu bemoans the infrastructural deficit of the hospital.
Tafo Government Hospital is very old. Infrastructurally, if you ask me personally, I will not call it a hospital. We need to do something about the infrastructure. It is the old structures that we are still having.
According to Dr. Kwamedetu, the congestion of the hospital forces them not to admit some patients.
It's very serious. We have only 18 beds that is available for pregnant women and people who need space when it comes to maternal issues. So sometimes you need to turn some of the people away because you can't admit all of them.
We'll now speak to the Registrar of the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, Dr. Wilfred Barr, for more on this. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Barr, after seeing the situation firsthand, do you really believe 3 months is enough time for the Ghana Health Service to fix the challenges in the Tafo Government Hospital?
In regards to our cherished listeners. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think our mandate is to make sure that health facilities adhere to strict protocols, make sure that our health facilities are safe and are providing quality health services. We are happy that you aired that documentary. And so just a day after that, we sent a team to Tafo Government Hospital. We had the whole team with our medical personnel and other personnel. And they've done an extensive work. We have the reports and we have some recommendations. I and myself and my management team, we all decided to come to Kumasi here. So we are all in Kumasi now. We went to the Tafo Government Hospital with the Regional Director of Health Services and the hospital management. We told them about our findings, and there were a number of issues. I must say they are doing their best under the circumstances, but we have to aim for the highest standards possible. And so we gave them our recommendations. And we believe that there are a number of them that can be done within 3 months. So we've given them 3 months to make sure that they put some remedial measures in place. The overcrowding, we've asked them to work on that. They need some protocols that have to be displayed. We've talked to them about that. And the Regional Director of Health Services and the hospital management, they've been very cooperative, and they promised that they're going to work on it. And so we'll send another team.
I'm quite interested in the recommendations beyond issuing the ultimatum. I'm wondering what specific recommendation you gave and what specific measures you as HEFRA will be taking to ensure that real action is taken under these circumstances.
Well, so like I said, we had quite a number. Some are infrastructure, some are systemic, some are protocols. We had about 31 of them. And so I might not be able to mention all of them. Like I said, one of them is I went to some of them were overcrowded. So, well, but you can see these people, Tafo Government Hospital, the area they cover is very overpopulated. So what they have to do, they have some uncompleted buildings. We've asked that the regional director get some support, and I'm sure with this we can get people who come and help them. So if they can even finish the ground floor, they can then expand and then move some of the beds there to reduce the overcrowding. And so we've given them some recommendations in that respect. Some of them are clinical protocols that can be done in no time. There were some of them we told them has to be done immediately. And so we are sure that with time, those things will be done.
If my memory serves me right, you say you gave about 31 different recommendations. If the Ghana Health Service fails to meet this deadline, the 3 months, what consequences are they likely to face?
Thank you very much. So our mandate also ensures that we make sure that health facilities comply with the basic standards. If according to the law and the act that set us up, we can give you a fine, you can pay penalties. In fact, people can be imprisoned, or we can even close down the facility if we think that it's gone to the extent that the safety of patients cannot be guaranteed. So these are the things that can be done if they flout the rules.
Thank you, Dr. Ba, for your time here on JoyNews Prime.
Let's just stay in Ashanti region, because the search for missing persons after Galamsey pit collapse at Mpasatia in that region has been abandoned after 2 days without success. Community members joined the effort following a call from traditional leaders, but no additional survivors or bodies have been found. 2 miners pulled from the rubble on Tuesday did not survive, one of them a local resident. So far, no families have reported missing relatives. Nanaya Ojima has more in this report.
2 people were retrieved from the collapsed mining pits on the first day of the search. One of them is identified as 45-year-old Charles Boahin, popularly known as Awareye. The commercial driver left behind 5 children and the wife. Janet Ochredakon spoke to JoyNews.
The patron driver He was a driver. He traveled and returned just on Saturday. He's a man and can't stay without any work, and that is how come he joined the activity.
One of the deceased is said to have attempted rescuing the other at the time of the collapse. Assembly member Salifu Ibrahim explains.
It was one person that the pit collapsed and fall on him, and the others were to go and rescue him, that the other one also fall on them. So yesterday we were able to manage and remove 2 bodies, but those who were around, all of them ran away.
The search party, consisting mainly of young miners, have been deploying shovels and pickaxes for the rescue mission. Behind me is one of the many pits that are dug indiscriminately on this land, and within these pits, this is where these illegal miners go deep into the earth in search for gold. From the dugout area, there are visible wood stumps erected to hold the earth from falling. The assembly member says efforts to access support from the Akremampunia district in covering the pits are yet to receive attention.
Right now, we need some measures to put place to close all the abandoned pits.
The National Disaster Management Organization, police, and other security agencies are at the mining site. It is unclear if earth-moving equipment will be deployed by the assembly to help in the rescue mission. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Mpasetia.
Quite a disturbing development today, but Nanaya Ojima joins us for more on this. Nana, can you walk us through the why the search was called over and whether there are any plans to resume efforts?
So basically, this search that happened today was led by the residents of the area. They came together after a call from the traditional authority, and they came together with their own tools, and that's the pickers and the shovels. They came out in their numbers and tried to dig out the place or where exactly this pit came in. And that was what they've been up to today. So they designated an area that they decided to dig out. After digging the sand out of that area, they were unable to find any individual trapped in there. So it was at that point that they decided to call off this search. Mind you, the community or families within the community are yet to communicate to the public whether any of them or declare anybody missing within the community. So they believe that if families are not calling people missing, and also nobody in the area is calling or reporting of a missing family member or relative, then it will be enough, especially after evacuating or excavating sand that were found at the particular location or the pit that caved in.
But has the local authority, have they issued any response? And do we know what the mining communities have been saying following this incident?
Not yet. At the time that we left the assembly or the police were yet to address the media, we tried to speak to them, but they told us that they were still with the people conducting the rescue. So if until they find somebody or they call it off, they are not speaking to us. We've been trying to get to them and get their side of the story, but the police and also the NADMO officials who were present at the site refused to speak to us. But the mining community is not happy with what is happening. I got in touch with some executives of the Small Scale Miners Association in the Ashanti region, and they believe that the incident is unfortunate. And these are some of the things that they've been preaching against: people who mine illegally and without any safety precaution. So they believe that it's about time that government look at flashing out people mining illegally, and also those who are not following any safety precaution in the mining of gold in these areas.
And I thank you for the update. That's quite a disturbing development where people have been killed by a mine pit collapse in Mpetia in the Ashanti region.
Well, you're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll be back after this quick turn. Please stay tuned in.
Welcome back from the break.
Other stories now. The technical committee proposes to the government to break ECG's operations into sections and assign them to private entities as part of efforts to reform Ghana's power distribution sector. Now, despite fierce opposition from the Trades Union Congress and the Public Utilities Workers Union, the government is pressing ahead with plans to involve private actors. After nearly 2 months of consultation, the committee has submitted its report to the Energy Minister, outlining 3 major recommendations, including the controversial restructuring of ECG.
Months of deliberations, the technical committee tasked with exploring private sector participation in Ghana's power distribution companies has submitted its report to the Energy Minister. The committee examined key challenges facing the Electricity Company of Ghana and proposed measures to address them.
And we see problems with governance, we see problems with management malaise. And then we also see procurement problems, high losses both in terms of commercial and collection.
The committee's report outlined 3 modules for private sector participation, down from an initial 8. One major proposal suggests breaking ECG's operations into separate units and awarding them to private entities.
And there's option B, which we are calling the multiple lease, in which case the distribution across the country will be divided into several parts, and each of them awarded to probably a different private sector participator to operate and to invest in. Then there's the third option, which we call option C, the service franchise, in which case the private sector will operate the network, the low voltage network from the distribution transformer to deliver services to the homes.
However, the proposal has met stiff resistance from groups like the Trades Union Congress and the Public Utilities Workers Union, who strongly oppose any form of privatization. Timothy Nyame is the General Secretary of POO.
I want to state it categorically that, look, there's no private sector participation in the energy sector. That is not supposed to make profit. They don't have any business in the private sector, in the public sector. They should put certain modalities in place and let us move together.
Energy Minister John Jinapo believes this is the only viable path to rescuing the struggling, loss-ridden energy distribution companies.
On a monthly basis, we incur a deficit or a shortfall of more than 1 billion cedis from the distribution sector.
The Energy Minister, John Jinapo, says a position paper will now be presented to Cabinet for further assessment before any of the proposed models are implemented.
The next step from here will be to do a position paper to Cabinet for the entire government to consider and approve the option that we will be pursuing, following which we would establish a project implementation committee. We would also have to get a transaction advisor, make this process as transparent and open as possible.
For JoyNews, Michael Ashali.
Let's take you back to the Ashanti region, where the 2024 MPP vice presidential candidate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has called for swift, fair support for victims of the doomed PZ fire in Kumasi. Visiting the affected traders, he urged inclusive relief efforts and donated 50,000 cedis and 500 bags of cement. Nanabuachi Yadom has the rest of the story.
The Adum PZ fire, which broke out on Friday, March 21, 2025, left several businesses in ruins and displaced many traders and their families. The NPP's vice presidential candidate for the 2024 election, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, visited the area to sympathize with the traders. His visit is part of efforts to support the traders affected by the fire. I have been affected by the fire myself, but I can't complain. I pray that God helps us all. I am not an MP anymore. I am an unemployed politician, but I cannot come in vain, so I am giving out 50,000 Ghana cedis and 500 bags of cement. As recovery efforts continue in the Adum PZ area, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has called for swift government intervention without any form of discrimination. It can't be that government supports a group of people and not others. All those who trade here must hear from the government, and there shouldn't be any form of discrimination. Meanwhile, some of the affected traders have returned to make sales despite evacuation notice to allow for further consultation on rebuilding the market. At this point, we have returned to the land to start business. We are, however, waiting for the Asantehene for his final determination. For JoyNews, Nana Boache Dankwe Yadom, Kumase.
In Dambai, a man has established a sustainable farming and training center near the Oti River designed to nurture future climate activists. Featuring eco-friendly housing, solar power, and rainwater harvesting, it trains local farmers and environmentalists in regenerative agriculture, promoting sustainable food production and environmental stewardship. In our Climate Focus series, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin explores its role in climate change mitigation.
The Adum PZ fire, which broke.
My name is Clement Matomas, and I'm the founder of Dream Village, Ghana. Our main objective is to provide a space where people can come and dream, farmers can come and learn about regenerative agriculture, and a place to gather also the youth to empower them on agriculture skills as well as to become a nature activist.
Clement Matomasin is overseeing the village garden while other workers engage in various tasks to maintain productivity. Structures at the village are from mud-based construction materials such as earth and thatch, which are cost-effective and can sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere over time. The walls can also act as carbon sinks, storing carbon and preventing it from re-entering the atmosphere, thereby helping to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Clement says embracing locally sourced materials enables communities to reduce their carbon footprint associated with construction, a key principle underlining his Dream Village initiative.
So with regards to our housing system, we deliberately choose to build our houses using local materials. Indigenous architecture has been with us for generations, and some of this architecture have very good backgrounds behind them, why they build our architecture that way. For instance, the round huts help harness energy within the housing system so that at least energy, positive energy, will keep staying within the housing. Roofing it with thatch is available material, so it helps to sustain it. Instead of burning the bushes, we have the thatch that is being harvested to roof the houses. Materials from the soil are also easily available, so you can.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We're back with showbiz. Please stay tuned in.